So you've ordered your first 3D foundation palette and you're not quite too sure what to do with it. This tutorial is going to help if you've ordered the 3D brush, and I'll also show you what some extras can do as well. So chances are you've gotten a color corrector. If you didn't get a color corrector, you can skip ahead to the next spot. So your 3D brush has a pointy end and more of a domed end, and you can play around. There's no wrong or right way on how to use this brush. I'm just going to show you the way I use it, not to say that this is the only way. Makeup is fun and creative. So with your color corrector, this is your darkest highlight shade. Almost 90% of the time, I'm choosing a color corrector that is a highlight. And the reason it's darker is to hide the darker areas on your face. So I've got broken capillaries here. I'm going to just tap in and apply that where I see redness. If I've got larger areas like on my chin, I can use the domed end to cover that larger area, and the pointier end for more detail work. And my eyes have a bit of purple under here, so I'm going to get in there. This is where it might be nice to grab the smudge brush, which looks like this. A little smaller, it's still dense, and it can get you a little more precision. But if you've got just your 3D, that's fine. You can work with it. So I'm just kind of blending, but there's nothing to blend here yet. I'm just putting my makeup in place. So I'm done with my color corrector. I can come in when I'm done and kind of, I know this guy will show through. There's no sense in doing him now because I am going to be putting my main shade there. So I'm kind of done with the color corrector. I'm going to go on to my contour. Again, play around with your brush. This is just the way I do it. Actually, I prefer the detail brush for contouring, but you can see how I'm just hugging the cheekbone. You can also use the domed end. I like to give it a little squeeze. And this kind of mimics my favorite brush for contouring, which is the detail brush. Nice way to chisel out those cheekbones. Easy way to remember contouring is just the number 3 or the letter E. We're going to do forehead, cheekbones, and jawline. Once you get those down pat, then you can move on and do some more detail work like your nose, under the lip. You can use your contour for brow filler, eyeliner, lip liner, a lot you can do with it. So if you do wear your hair back, you might want to even place that just in front of the ears to help chisel out that jaw. Not something you have to do. And you can see how I'm just tapping and dabbing. So with contouring your nose, the narrower you get those dark lines, the narrower your nose will look. Just under your lip to create a shadow. My lips are dry. Should have put some lip conditioner on. So those are my first 2 shades. Next, I'm going to do my brightening shade, and this is where we add some light to our face. Again, I'm just tapping, picking some product up. I'm going to take this down this corner of my eye, the inner corners. I've got my color corrector deep up in here and up in the top, so I'm not covering that. I'm just bringing it up to it, and they'll blend together. And then the outer corner. And once I get my makeup on, you'll see how red and discolored my eyelids look. Great time to add your highlight on your eyelids as well. If you're not going to do any eyeshadow, you can go ahead and put your highlight over. The highlight works as a great eyeshadow base as well, or eyeshadow primer. You never want to put your eyeshadow right on bare eyelids. So the brightener is great for an eyeshadow primer because it really brightens up the eyes, so your eyeshadows will really show the true pigmentation. But you can use your main shade, you can use your color corrector, it doesn't really matter. I'm also going to take that brightening shade down the center of my face because this is where light naturally hits your face. And you can see how I'm always dabbing and tapping. So next, let's go ahead and add blush next. My blush is Nude. This is a satin finish, so it does provide some coverage. If I was going to use a gloss, which is kind of see-through and just adds a sheer tint, you might want to put some foundation. I've got some kind of patchiness here, some old acne scars. I would probably put my main shade on and then just add that color. But the less product I put on, the better. So let's go ahead and add my blush, and you can see how I get a bit of coverage with this. And then I know I've got that area covered and I'm not going to need to put anything else there. And again, just dabbing and tapping. And I can come back and deepen this color if I don't find that I've added enough. What happens is I draw the blood to the surface of my skin and the cheeks look a little rosy. So let's go ahead and fill in the blanks now. I haven't got anything here in this area and in there. And this isn't rocket science. So if you've already put something there, no big deal. We'll blend those together. It's not so precise where I've got my color corrector here, but I need main shade here. They are going to commingle, but that's all right. Cream, they are completely blendable. And just check out 3 taps. It's gonna cover this whole upper part of my face. And you'll get used to how many taps you need for your areas. I think of my face as quadrants, and I know that a few dabs is going to pick up enough product to cover the areas that I need. It just comes with practice. This tin is actually quite new and it's picking up a lot more product than I'm used to, so I've got extra on here right now. And the last thing you want is too much product. And that is one reason why I always tell everyone to grab a perfector sponge. Let's put a little lip color on. With the satin shades, it's always nice to have a lip conditioner on first, or put a gloss on over top. So your perfector sponge, you shouldn't feel any stickiness. I can start to see some texture right here. I've got way too much product on. We're just going to tap and dab and roll this perfector sponge to remove that excess and blend this product even more. So what you want to do with your sponge is run it under water and squeeze it out, and then put it in a towel and squeeze it some more. It should be almost dry. So it's picking up product. I'm kind of rolling my sponge around to different areas as I'm going. Feel again, a little sticky down here still. And that's your 5 basic shades using your 3D brush. We can add a few little extras. Like I said, a gloss is always nice over a satin finish. That way you don't have so much, a satin is kind of like a matte, and a gloss kind of gives it more of a lipstick feel, a true, I don't want to say gooey, but a true tackier lipstick. Illuminator, if you like a little extra shine. above the Cupid's bow. You can use it on your cheekbones, tip of your nose. And just using your finger to put this on is the easiest way. And I can't stress bronzer enough. So many people don't choose in the beginning. That's quite all right. But once you get comfortable with your makeup, I highly suggest the bronzer bundle, which includes the Blush Plus bronzer brush. This fluffy brush is the absolute best brush for applying this bronzer. Just picking some up, and it warms up the skin kind of where sun would naturally hit, especially the neck. Look at how it ties my neck into my face, and if my chest was exposed, how everything would be the same color. Otherwise, you can see over here how my neck is light. The 3D brush is a little bit more challenging for bronzer because it is so dense. I like the speed that I get from the bigger brush too. Not to say that it can't be done. Just need to blend it out. And it looks like I could add just a little more cheek color. Let's go back to my nude. Like so. You do want to set your makeup. If I was to leave the house like this, my makeup is done, I might not get all day longevity with it. It might start to wear off during the day because it never dries out. This cream palette will stay supple for a year if you left it uncovered. Like it's not going to dry out. So you do need to set this. So if you don't have setting spray, any setting spray will work. Seint setting spray is a very dewy if you like that kind of glowy finish, and if you have dry skin, it's awesome. Setting powder is another option. If you're oily and you want to kind of mattify, you can use your damp perfector sponge. I like to use powder just under my eyes. If you have mature skin, those fine lines and wrinkles, you don't want your makeup creasing, this will help to hold it in place. And you can powder or use your setting spray. And that's your 3D foundation, your 5 basic shades plus a few extras, and your 3D brush. If you have any questions along the way, reach out to me. I'm here to help you out.